Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Ryan Thompson, and today I'm going to be comparing the OnePlus 3 and the iPhone 7. Now, one thing I'm just going to say before we get into any kind of comparison between the two phones or any kind of review, anything like that, is that the way that I do my phone reviews is that I either buy/borrow them and keep them for maybe between a week or between maybe a couple of days and a couple of weeks, and then I sell them on or give them back. So I don't actually have the OnePlus 3 in my hands, and neither do I have the iPhone 7. I had that maybe about 2 or 3 days ago. You need to understand that I don't actually have the phones probably a week after I released a review, so if you ask me to do something with them, I can't actually do that, unfortunately. But anyway, let's get into this comparison between these two very highly anticipated phones that have come out this year. Okay, so for the screens, you're going to get two pretty different displays, and they're both good in their own ways. We've got the 4.7 inch 750 by 1334 IPS display on the iPhone 7, and we also have a 5.5 inch 1080p AMOLED display on the OnePlus 3. For both of these, you're getting really good screens. On the iPhone 7, it's obviously a lot smaller, almost a whole inch smaller. You're getting an IPS display, so the color reproduction is going to be better on this than the OnePlus 3. And also, it goes really bright, like seriously bright. So if you're going outside a lot, maybe you're using your phone outdoors, you're working outdoors or whatever, this is going to be a great phone for you. Might be a little bit expensive, but this may be the phone for you, the screen at least. It does lack something that the OnePlus 3 has, which is AMOLED technology. And now this means the blacks on the screen don't actually light the pixels. So if you're in complete pitch black and you're watching, say, someone on the screen and their background is black, you won't see the background. It will almost be like that person is floating because it's completely black. And I love this. You're getting really deep blacks, the contrast is going to be great, and overall the content consumption is great on this OnePlus 3 device. Also, you might save a little bit of battery life if your backgrounds and imagery are predominantly black, because the pixels just won't light up. So there we go. The iPhone 7 also does have 3D touch, which we'll get into later, but overall those are the two screens. For content consumption, you want to be going for the OnePlus 3. They're both really crisp displays, meaning that you're going to get, really good sharpness. They're not QHD, unfortunately, but at these sizes, you don't really need QHD. They're definitely really good in their own way. Just as a reference, if you were to go with the iPhone 7 Plus, you'd get the same 5.5 inch 1080p display from the OnePlus 3, just lacking the OLED technology. The cameras are where these phones do pretty well as well, because on the OnePlus 3 you're getting a 16 megapixel camera, which takes great photos. Obviously, the camera doesn't do all the work, it's down to the person taking them as well, but you're going to get nice sharp photos because it's 16 megapixels, slightly higher megapixel count than normal phones, and you're going to be getting good colors and a great resolution for cropping and stuff. But I just don't think the software nor the hardware really as refined as the iPhone. You're getting 4K video and 720p at 120 FPS if you want to do a little bit of slow-mo action. f2.0 for great bokeh. Not so good in low light because of the sensor having such a high megapixel count on there. I just don't think it takes that great a video. It takes much better photos than video in my opinion. Front, you're getting an 8 megapixel shooter. Not too wide, but definitely a great shooter. Not very good in low light either, but you're getting a high megapixel count for a front shooter, so you can crop in a little bit if you want. On the iPhone 7, comparably, we've got a 12 megapixel rear camera, which is 4 megapixels down from the OnePlus 3. Takes very crispy photos. It's very comparable to Samsung photos and cameras, which is great because Samsung makes great cameras. The video on this is also 4K, but you're getting optical image stabilization even on the smaller unit, which is really good. You get it on the Plus, but you don't usually get it on the smaller iPhone, but you do this time. It can also shoot 720p at double the frame rate, 240 frames per second, and has an f1.8 aperture for really good bokeh, meaning you're going to get the cool blurred background effect. That's what bokeh is essentially. And the iPhone 7, I think, takes the cake on the main camera. For the secondary camera, you're getting a 7 megapixel camera, so a little bit smaller in resolution. Quality is really good on this one, but it doesn't do as well as the Samsung phones. Performance, this is like the two main powerhouses going at each other now, because on the OnePlus 3 we've got a Snapdragon 820, which is a quad-core system on a chip with great reliability, and it works well. It really is quick. Snapdragon's last high-end kind of flagship was an 810, which is double the core count, so they managed to get more performance out of less cores, which is great. Super powerful, works really well, no stutters or anything, and obviously this is paired with 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage. Now, the powerhouse at the moment in terms of the whole of phones, the Apple A10 quad-core CPU, where it's a system on a chip, a lot of power, a hell of a lot of power. They're using so much efficiency to get like the most out of such a small kind of CPU, and in a sense that this isn't actually a huge CPU with a lot of cores. 2 lower clocked cores and 2 higher clocked cores again. Performance is amazing, no crashes, the speed of it is ridiculous, it shows efficiency again, and it's one of the most powerful chips. I think it's the most powerful chip in a phone so far. Maybe the new Kirin, I believe it's 960 or 965, is going to be more powerful, but this is definitely the most powerful out right now. 2GB RAM on the smaller model, 3GB of RAM if you go with the Plus model, and I've got the 128GB model here, but you can get 32 and 256GB of storage. For fluidity, I would go with the iPhone. For pure performance, I would go with the OnePlus 3. There's only an issue. If you download Cyanogen or a custom ROM, you're going to fix this, but otherwise, it doesn't actually keep much in RAM. I mean, it keeps as much in RAM as the iPhone does, and the iPhone has either a third or a half of the RAM respectively. I don't really know what's going on there, but this is just a little known issue. It could be fixed now, but I've heard from a few friends, a few other sources, that they still haven't fixed this problem and you may need another OS to fix this. For the fingerprint scanners then, you are getting the 2 probably fastest fingerprint scanners on the market. You're getting an incredible no-press system on the OnePlus 3, meaning that there isn't actually a button there. You just kind of like touch your finger on the home kind of area and it instantly unlocks. Whereas on the iPhone 7, you're actually getting a fairly similar system, but you have to press down a bit. Like it's a button, but it's not a button. And I'll explain that a little bit later. So I do think that they're both as quick as each other. I would personally go with the OnePlus 3 if I was basing this on fingerprint scanners, because you don't actually have to press a button. It's instant. Seriously quick. For the build quality, you're getting an all metal and glass design on the OnePlus 3 with metal on the back and glass on the front. It feels really good in the hand. It's pretty slippery though because of that metal on the back, but you're getting a decently big camera bump as well, so you'd need a case on this, I'd say. But the sharper edges mean you actually have something to hold on to. It's not rounded, it's not curvy on the edges. Nice sharp edges, something to grip onto, and I really like the feel of this phone in the hand. With the iPhone 7, you're getting an all metal and glass design, again with metal on the back, glass on the front. It's more slippery because of those curved kind of edges, and when I say curved, I mean they're kind of rounded instead of just, you know, a sharp edge. And I think this feels a little bit more premium, this phone. The smaller models do tend to feel more premium than the bigger models, not really sure why. It's got curved sides and a flat back, so you're getting slightly curved edges on the actual front and the back, and it's not as ergonomic, I would say, because it's got a flat back, it's not a curved back. For the ports, connectors and trays. Well, on the OnePlus 3, you're getting a brand new USB 2.0 Type-C connector, which is really cool. It's awesome because this connector is basically capable of so many different things, but it's not that popular yet, so you know you're going to find it difficult if you need to borrow a charger from someone because they probably don't have Type-C. It's got a headphone jack and it has a SIM card slot. It has 2 SIM card slots. For the iPhone 7 then, you're getting a lightning connector. That's all for the connectors, no headphone jack here, but you're also getting a SIM card as well. You're getting 1 single SIM card slot, so limited in its I/O, but there we go. For battery life, you're getting a 3000 mAh battery on the OnePlus 3, which lasts all day Pokemon going, pretty much all day as well, no problem. It's really good. The battery life is good. Now that it's been updated and now that there have been slight fixes to it, there are some really good ways to save battery life as well, like putting a black background everywhere and changing all your themes to dark. And on the iPhone 7, it just beats out the OnePlus 3 because it's a 1960 mAh battery, which is like 1040 mAh less, but it lasts 1 to 2 days, no problem. I really like the battery life of these modern iPhones. They just last forever, although that battery will degrade over time. And even with gaming and video consumption, this thing lasts a long time, you know, going through the OS, maybe on Twitter, Instagram, watching YouTube videos, playing the odd game, you know, Slitherio, whatever you want to play, Pokemon Go. It does last a hell of a long time. Now for price, this is where these two phones really, you know, they go from being pretty similar to completely different. The iPhone 7 released at $599 for the smallest model in the smallest capacity, whereas the OnePlus 3 released at £309, and the price did rise to $329 after Brexit, but apart from that, it's basically half the price. And the 128GB model that I have for the iPhone is actually $699, that's £700, which is easily double what the OnePlus 3 costs for 64. Now overall, for the price, I do think you're getting, the OnePlus 3 is like a hell of a lot of phone for your money, like one of the best phones for such a small price compared to the iPhone's really big price, but I do think it's kind of worth it if you want an iPhone. Like, if you really, really want an iPhone, you're not going to be disappointed, but I would recommend the OnePlus 3 over the iPhone 7 for price. Now, for extra features, what are you getting with that price? With the OnePlus 3, you're getting dash charge, which is incredibly quick. I believe it's 4 amp charging kind of system, where you use your proprietary plug and the USB Type-C cable really, really quick. The iPhone 7 3D touch, it's like pressure sensitive screen. You can actually press into the screen, works really well for different applications. I do like it on the home screen. You're able to access shortcuts, almost like having a right click. And you also get that taptic feedback where the home button isn't actually a home button. It's just a pressure sensor that actually, you know, again, can sense the level of pressure. And there isn't actually a button there. You can actually just press it and press it as much as you want, and there's no button. It just sends a vibration to you via this taptic engine. Now, for the software, Oxygen OS on the OnePlus 3 is completely customizable, whereas iOS isn't. Pick which one. I'm not going to explain to you which one. There are plenty of videos telling you, you know, which one's better and which one, you know, which one has the better features and which one's more reliable, all this and that and the other. iOS seems to be a little bit more efficient, whereas Oxygen OS seems to be a little bit more customizable, you know, user oriented. Overall, which one would I recommend? You know, you're getting 2 really high-end premium phones here. Which one would I recommend? If you have literally so much money that you are just looking to buy whatever phone, you have a budget that is unlimited, I would go with the iPhone 7 because it feels more premium to me. If it was me, like because I don't tend to have a lot of money, I would go with the OnePlus 3. If I had unlimited money, I would go with the OnePlus 3 too. But I can see the appeal of the iPhone 7. The OnePlus 3 is a really, really good phone. Like, the OnePlus 3 really does stand out to the rest of the phones because it's like, wow, look what we can do for God knows less price than you spend on your Samsung or Apple or Sony phones. Ours are half the price and equally as good, if not a little bit better. That's where I'd leave it, guys. I completely recommend the iPhone 7. It's a one hell of a phone. Really, really love it, but also love the OnePlus 3 as well. It's been your boy Ryan Thomas, and I will see you in the next video. Leave a like if you're new, subscribe if you're new, leave a like if you're not new, I don't really know. Leave a comment, dislike it if you don't like the video. Please tell me what I've missed out, because I'm sure I've missed out a decent amount. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.